or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to talk about the build and battle boxes for Mega Evolution. We've got some news about the build and battle boxes from Mega Evolution, and there's basically two bits of news here. One of them is awesome news, and the other one is awesome news. Excellent. Let's get rolling, shall we? So I was doing my usual look around. I do tend to spend quite a bit of time trying to make sure there is no Pokemon news that I'm missing. And I noticed that Miss Y over on Twitter shared images from some showcase they'd been to, and there was a bunch of stuff from Mega Evolution, and, you know, we got booster boxes, we got the Drifloon blisters and Drifblim blisters, we got booster packs. There's some stuff there about the Elite Trainer box with the Alakazam promo. All of this we knew, all cool stuff, but nothing terribly new or exciting. Until I got to this picture about the build and battle boxes. And shout out to Miss Y over on Twitter for sharing this, because, well, we haven't seen all of them, but we have seen two of the pre-release promos here, and frankly, two is enough right now. And the first thing which we need to say straight off the bat, they are back to proper promos. And we know for a fact that they are back to proper promos, because although the Lunatone is new and phenomenal, we'll get there in a minute, the Alakazam isn't new. We've seen the Alakazam that's previously been shown off. We know what the regular art Alakazam looks like, and that is not the regular art Alakazam. We don't know that that isn't the alternate art of Lunatone. We don't know if it is, but we kind of do, because either they're all alternate art or none of them. They've never done part alternate art pre-release promos for as long as they've been doing pre-release promos, and that's been many years. If the Alakazam is alternate art, that means the Lunatone is alternate art, and I, for one, am delighted about this. Because back in Journey Together, we were back where we normally were. We had alternate art pre-release promos, and they actually included one of the best we've ever seen, Hop Snorlax. And look, this is a personal thing for me. Okacheke is my favourite artist bar none. Snorlax is one of my favourite Pokemon. So an Okacheke Snorlax was always going to get my attention. And I loved it. And I was just kind of sitting and chilling and enjoying the fact that we were getting what we normally get. I was loving it. And then Destined Rivals happened. And Destined Rivals made me sad, because Destined Rivals changed things. We went to regular cards from the set, but they've got a new stamp. The thing was, it wasn't quite that simple. Not only did we get pre-release, quote-unquote, promos for Destined Rivals, which were regular cards with a stamp, but we also saw, and we've seen this a bunch lately, a whole bunch of products. I mean, let's look at the Snorlax EX Premium Collection, or the Snorlax and Blissey, because I love Snorlax. And there's been a bunch of these products lately where instead of real promos, they've had regular cards with a stamp. And that's been a bit of a theme in products recently. So the fact that we got a bunch of products that weren't really promos, they were just stamped. And at the same time, we had these pre-release promos that weren't regular promos, they were just the ordinary cards stamped. That made me think, and I do think this was a fair reaction. I do think this was a fair presumption on my part. It looked like things were changing. It looked like they were going to a new style of promo, and I was not a fan. I thought it was underwhelming, to put it nicely. And it wasn't that they had bad selections of cards. I actually think the card selection for Destined Rivals was pretty good. I thought they chose good pre-release promos. That wasn't the point. You know, Ethan's Typhlosion is a great card. Misty's Gyarados is a fun gimmick. Team Rocket's Mimikyu has oodles of potential. And to be fair, Team Rocket's Tyrannosaur is a bit rubbish. But you never know in the future. The thing is, it looked like that's where we were, and I was gutted. I don't know where we're going in the future for this, but at least for Mega Revolution, we now have actual alternate art promos confirmed. And as far as I am concerned, this is a fantastic, wonderful, brilliant, awesome, amazing change. I could not be happier about this. I did not like having regular art cards with a stamp on. I've always loved pre-release promos. They've not always been alternate art, to be fair, but I've always loved them when they have been alternate art. It's a fun little extra collecting thing. And it's kind of interesting because Japan doesn't always get the alternate art pre-release promos. Some of my very favourites, like the Haiganosuke Kangaskhan, and along the same lines of Haiganosuke Tapu Lele, never actually found their way out to Japan, so we end up with these exclusive cards. I'd rather have them in Japanese as well, to be fair, but it made me sad when they went away. They are back now, and yes, I do think we can say with absolute certainty they are back, because the Alakazam is definitely alternate art. We don't know if the Lunatone is, and we haven't seen the other two, but the fact that the Alakazam is tells us everything we need to know. But we do have that Lunatone there. And to be fair, Lunatone's had some good cards in the past, but they tend to be gimmick cards. They have to be mixed with Soul Rock, and I went, okay. And then I read it, and it does have to be mixed with Soul Rock, which is kind of annoying. But it's, if you've got Soul Rock in play, you may discard a basic fighting energy from your hand and draw 3 cards. Oh, yeah. That, ladies and gentlemen, is absolutely over the top ridiculous. 2 basic Pokemon on your bench, and then, I mean, the best way to put this is better Radiant Greninja. Now, when I say better Radiant Greninja, I'm being a little bit flippant. There's huge downsides and huge upsides. Huge upside, it's not a Radiant Pokemon. You can have more than one in your deck. Huge upside, you draw 3 cards rather than 2. That is a gigantic difference. Huge downside, you need to have Soul Rock in place. You need both of those Pokemon down. Huge downside, it is specifically limited to basic fighting energy, whereas Greninja could discard any energy and it would still work. Okay. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Well, I mean, it's bad, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's game-breaking by any stretch. I think Lunatone's absurd. I think if we have a look at Radiant Greninja, that was one of the very best cards in the entirety of the Sword and Shield era. Like, actually, genuinely, of the entire 12 set plus mini sets block, it was one of the very best cards. Now you're giving me a better draw, admittedly more restrictive, and you need 2 bench Pokemon down. Yeah. I don't see why you would play a basic fighting energy deck and not play this. I do. It would be bench space. But if you can spare the bench space, and you really should try, and you're playing basic fighting, this is beyond ridiculously good. And I'm just looking at this and I'm just going, oh, Mega Lucario. This is absolutely absurd with Mega Lucario. Because you see, Mega Lucario, firstly, great Pokemon. All right? Best thing about it, single energy, 130, attach up to 3 basic fighting energy from your discard pile to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. You then attach a second energy next turn and do 270. The thing about Mega Lucario is, one of the things you need as early as possible when you're playing Mega Lucario, get basic fighting into the discard. Lunatone. So it's not just the draw, although the draw is phenomenal, don't get me wrong. It is also that if you're playing Mega Lucario, you need that energy in a discard to start accelerating it, and Lunatone is going to help. But it's silly little things like turn 1 going first. If you can get Soul Rock and Lunatone down, which is not that difficult, 2 basic Pokemon, you're drawing an extra 3 cards. Like, this is going to be ridiculous in pre-releases. Absolutely absurd in pre-releases, because you're going to be able to draw just more cards than your opponent. You're going to have that consistency going on. I think this Lunatone is absolutely busted. I think there is an excellent chance it is one of the very, very, very best cards in Mega Revolution. And we are missing a lot of the set list, which is weird because the full list is going up on a Japanese website in a week, and we're still missing a lot of cards. I don't care. I don't see how this doesn't make my top 10. This card is absolutely absurd. So look, we're getting a new Lunatone, which is absurdly good. That's wonderful news. And we're getting actual pre-release promos, not reprints with a new stamp. I told you I had great news for you, ladies and gentlemen. I do, in fact, have great news for you. But I've shared it all now, so now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about all of this in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And please do remember, with the new YouTube algorithm, it makes a huge difference if you like and comment far more than before. So if you're still watching at this point, please do drop a like and a comment. I would really very much appreciate it. And we need to give a massive shout out to one of our lovely Patreon supporters here. So massive shout out to Kool-Aid, who's been a supporter of ours for a little while now and seems to be a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.